Today marks the first business week of 2021. And yesterday I introduced an email list building challenge that I encourage any life coach who wants to grow a business in 2021 to participate in. Now, it's so foundational to grow an email list, and I talked about it yesterday, but just a quick recap. Your email list is something that you own, and it's an intimate way to start to interact and engage with a growing audience. That's going to ultimately lead to you getting more clients and being able to scale to the point where you're doing coaching programs or whatever it is that you want to do in your business. An email list and communicating with that list is going to be foundational for you. And so I'll put that link in the description again. But I wanted to emphasize a point for any life coach who is really wanting to focus on business growth this year. I came across a podcast this morning by a copywriter named Ray Edwards. Now, if you're not familiar with Ray, I've been following him for years and he is phenomenal. And I want to talk about why he's so phenomenal. And I want you to listen to this as a marketer. Okay, I want you to have your marketing hat on, not your consumer hat on. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I really encourage you to start looking at things that you come across, whether it's listening to me or checking out Ray's podcast or checking out any other marketer, any other brand. I want you to start looking at things as a marketer, as a business owner, learning instead of consuming. And so with Ray, Ray is a copywriter. I've been following him now for years. What I love about Ray is that he's not afraid to share his values. And so in this podcast this morning, he instantly leads off with scripture. Now, he's a spiritual businessman. He's not afraid to talk about the fact that he loves the Bible, he loves Jesus, and he is more than happy to share his faith. That's something to pay attention to. It's all about being authentic about who you are with your audience. Now, in his podcast this morning, he was talking about turning business problems into profit. And in a nutshell, he's talking about mindset. And of course, as a life coach, no matter where you are in your business, you should understand the power of mindset. Now, he mentioned a few different people that he follows, he listens to, that he's in collaboration with, people that I don't know, I'm not familiar with, but one, a Shay Byness saying, grace over grind. So you need to have a good mindset about your business wherever you are in business, right? That's going to be your number one indicator for if you're going to be able to make money in your business, right? Is the mindset that you have about your business. But you need to have yourself, give yourself some grace. Be graceful to yourself in the process, because this is a bitch, okay? Working on a business online, creating a business for yourself, being an entrepreneur, which you are an entrepreneur. It's something that takes time, and it's a lot of effort that you have to put in, and you need to give yourself grace in the process. And then he mentioned this woman named Jennifer Allwood that he's in a coaching program with. She just put out a podcast number 199 titled "Friend, You Are Not Behind." I wanted to bring this to you because I gave this invitation to join me on this email list building challenge that happens starting today. And I want you to know that no matter where you are in your business, you aren't behind. There's the phrase, the only person you're in competition with is yourself. Give yourself some grace and allow yourself the freedom to learn, to grow, and to figure this whole thing out at your pace. And know that it's perfect just for you. I'm personally tired of all of the experts and gurus that I come across online that have this part of their marketing message is that you're not moving fast enough. Success loves speed. Hustle, hustle, hustle. Kill yourself for money. And I love it when I come across people who have a different perspective, where they're more like, let's be led by grace. Let's be, willing to stand the test of time. And so at the end of this, I'm going to talk about two of the most important factors and predictors of success. But in the meantime, it's so important for you to have a healthy mindset. And while we're on the topic of Ray and mindset, I want to share one other thing about Ray that I really love and admire. He's a successful copywriter, and what I mean by successful is not, we have this idea that all these brands, they're $1 million brands. He probably is $1 million brand. I don't know. He doesn't sit there and ramble on about how much money he makes. But what I do know about Ray is that he's a giver. So yesterday when I was talking about growing an email list, I talked about providing value in exchange for an email. You never want to come to the table and just immediately propose to somebody and say, hey, can I coach you? Or do you want to buy my program or whatever, whatever it is that you're trying to offer a prospect. You need to build a relationship. You can't, you never go to the table and propose for marriage, right? You have to build a relationship. Same thing in business. And I don't know where I was going with that, but the point is Ray's talking, he's so valuable. I mean, he gives so much value. He gives away a lot of value for free. I've opted into plenty of his lead magnets. But what is really cool about Ray is he also is not afraid to put out high ticket programs. So there have been plenty of programs that I would love to join him in, but they're out of my price range. Like I'm going to be honest. I can't afford a $20,000 coaching program right now. And so he's not afraid to offer and limit those kind of programs. So I've seen him come up with several different programs where he's only allowing 8 people in for $20,000 each or something along those lines. That's kind of his model. That is, it's high value. And he knows that, he has this confidence that if he's going to hand select the people that are applying, and he has confidence that they're going to get an ROI on their investment. And so that's powerful. And it's powerful to get into that position where you have the kind of business model that you can create something along those lines. And I encourage you to think about how you can grow a business, and even a life coaching business. You have that potential. Tony Robbins proves it. Brooke Castillo proves it. So many other people prove that you can have high ticket products as a life coach. So that's something to pay attention to. Another thing I want to just mention quickly about Ray is that he has Parkinson's disease. So if you're familiar with Parkinson's, or if you know Michael J. Fox and have seen his health condition deteriorate over the years, that's what Ray Edwards is facing. And he talks about it quite a bit. And I think that that's so inspiring. I'm so inspired to see him create so much value. And one of the things he talked about on his podcast this morning was simply the fact that in 2020, it was a bad year for a lot of people. I did not like 2020. I didn't enjoy what happened in the world. Now, what happened in the world versus what happened in my business and my family, those are two different things. And I just love to hear his perspective about how he chooses to look at 2020 as one of the best years of his life, and how he was able to problem solve in a way that now he has a business that could potentially be sustained even without him. And so that's something to pay attention to, right? You may be at the beginning of your life coach business journey and not even thinking about creating a business that is sustainable without you. But forward thinking is so important. And creating a model that can be sustainable without you, that is a really true definition of success, in my opinion, that you're creating a business that you can walk away from and still profit from without killing yourself, without it falling apart. That is a successful business. And you can look at models like the Life Coach School to witness that in action. Brooke Castillo, a life coach, has created the Life Coach School. It runs probably 90% without her. And so these are things to think about as you're creating your business. How can you have a sustainable model that's successful with or without you? And so paying attention to how some marketers are creating their businesses is powerful for you. And that's something I just wanted to point out because I admire it. And I think that it's something that we don't talk about enough. And we should be studying those that have led the way before us, study how they've structured their business. Now, before I get into wrap this up with the really two major predictors of success, and it has nothing to do with an email list, okay? I wanted to talk about Mindvalley. Mindvalley is a company, if you're not familiar with them, where it's all about personal growth. Mindvalley was started by a gentleman named Vishen Lakhiani, and his backstory is very interesting. Really encourage you to check him out if you're not familiar. He's the founder of Mindvalley, of Solvana, of I think even Gaia might be his baby. But Mindvalley is a place for professional development. They're hoping to kind of replace university learning in a sense. And if you are familiar with Mindvalley, they're trying to get away from Facebook. They're trying to create a community environment in the platform where people like you and I, who are interested in growing ourselves professionally and personally, can come together in a more positive place than, say, Facebook. So this week coming up, there are two classes that are going to be hosted live that on Tuesday and Wednesday that I thought were noteworthy, and I just wanted to share with you and let you know that they're happening. If you're a Mindvalley All Access member, in order to do so, I think it's $500. I pay $500 a year to be Mindvalley All Access. That comes with all of their courses. So you can participate in any of their courses, which one course could easily be a $500 course. So it's really a great value. But on Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, John and Missy Butcher are hosting a live class called Designing Your 2021 Vision. John and Missy Butcher, if you're not familiar with them, they are the creators of a program called Lifebook. Lifebook is looking at the 12 different categories of your life and really getting clear about what you want in your life. What do you define as success in these 12 different areas? I went through the Lifebook process with my husband, and it was really profound. It was really cool. And John and Missy Butcher are just like this sexy couple that are very inspiring. They just like ooze sexuality, and they're very interesting to watch. They love each other, and you can tell. And so anyway, they're hosting a Zoom call tomorrow, all about creating your 2021 vision. I'm hoping to hop onto that. And on Wednesday, there's a gentleman named Jeffrey Pearlman. He is one of the brand strategists for really big brands, but he's most famous for really launching Zumba into the world and making Zumba a household name. He's going to be doing a course on Wednesday, a live call about creating a transformational brand. I don't like him, okay? Just like his on-screen presence, I'm not a big fan of. And I say that to point out something important. Again, having the marketing hat on, Jeffrey Pearlman has proven himself to be a successful businessman. He's proven himself to thrive in his field, and so he's being uplifted because of it, right? He's being called out. He's being showcased because of his expertise and what he has accomplished. Now, I may not like his on-screen presence, the way he carries himself and the way he talks. He's like, I like woo-woo people. I like warm and fuzzy people. He doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy. But that's not something that I should use as an excuse to not learn from him. And so another really important thing that I want you to think about as you come across people, I do feel like you should have some type of filter. You may not want to learn from everyone. You can't. I mean, it's kind of impossible. There are a lot of gurus, experts, really successful people in the world that I haven't learned from, or I can't, I just can't. You can't consume it all. And that's okay. But the ones that you do come across, if there's something about them that sparks an interest in you, whether or not you like them personally, it may be worth paying attention to, and just paying attention to what have they done to have the success that they have. and what kind of pearls of wisdom may you get from them. So that's how I look at it. So I'm not crazy about Jeffrey Pearlman, but I'm hoping that I can participate in this and check this out, see what he has to say. I've gone through a few different of his talks at Mindvalley, and I think that he's smart, and I always walk away with a new insight about personal branding, which is very elemental, especially for life coaches. If you're not familiar with the idea of building your own personal brand, it'd definitely be great to hop on this call or just message me and let's talk about it, because developing your personal brand is everything, really, for life coaches. Now, let's finally get around to this idea, the predictor of success. So I started off talking about this email challenge that I have that I'm going to be participating in starting today. It's today through Friday. And it's something that I'm going through to learn and continue to learn. I know about email marketing, I know about list building, but I feel like there's always more to learn. And so I'm willing to spend the time and learn from people like Russel Brunson. Now, we talked about also not hustling to kill yourself, having grace over grind, right? Knowing that mindset is everything, knowing that mindset is going to be the way for you to make money, grow your business. If you don't have a good mindset about what you're doing, about reaching out to prospects or building an email list, you're going to struggle with it. So you have to work on your mindset. And as a life coach, you should be very well aware of that. But the two things that are really going to predict your success, okay, it's not competing with anybody else. It's not looking at yourself versus Brooke Castillo or versus Tony Robbins or versus Vishen Lakhiani. You can't compare yourself to anybody else. The only competition you have is yourself. And so as you're going into 2021, hold on to this concept of grit. I watched this TED Talk last night, Angela Duckworth on TED. She's talking about grit. And she did some studies on different people at different age ranges. So young kids all the way to older kids, kids in school versus adults in different organizations and different careers, various different elements of life and various different people groups, right? And she realized there was a through line between all of them that were successful versus those who ultimately failed. I don't like the F word, but in this instance, we'll just use it. Now, grit is this idea that it doesn't matter how smart you are. Okay, I know that this is something that I've struggled with. Like, I feel I'm not as smart as I would like to be. I wish that my brain would be able to absorb more material more easily. I wish I was able to focus better. There's different things that we tend to beat ourselves up about because we feel like we're not smart enough, we're not capable enough, yada, yada, yada. Capacity is, or capability is something that grows as you grow. You have to have the mindset to be willing to grow. You have to have that growth mindset. I'm willing to fail. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to make videos that I don't know anybody's going to watch. You have to be willing to do these kind of things in order to grow as a person and as a business owner, right? But the other thing is just the consistency and the determination, which all play into this idea of grit. Grit is just, I'm not going to stop. I refuse to stop. And consistency is, I'm going to do whatever it takes, however long it takes, in order to meet my goals, in order to have the success that I feel I want in my life. And so these are things that being resilient in the face of uncertainty is so important. We've all seen this in 2020, and I just encourage you to cling to this idea. I didn't even want to watch the video on grit because sometimes I don't like those words like, ugh, I want to develop grit. I need grit. Ugh, but at the end of the day, I'm glad I did, because it's insightful, right? There's always a lesson to be learned. And I realized that's what you need. You need it. So whether you join me in this email challenge or not, right? Whether you are slugging it through 2021, or you're really ramping up your volume and doing incredible things in your business, whatever it is, you have to be resilient, and you have to be consistent, and you have to be determined to figure this out. I'm assuming that if you're watching this, you're a newer life coach, and I just encourage you to be resilient. Find that grit within yourself, find that determination within yourself to figure this out, because the world needs you. And I'm so in love with coaches and the coaching industry, and I want to see you succeed. I want to see you thrive, because the world needs you. The world needs more forward-thinking thinkers, more powerful people like yourself to step up and help to empower all those around us. So I hope that you have that grit within you to work out whatever it is that you need to work out in order for you to find the success that you want to find. And until next time, my name is Nicolette Moore. I love life coaches. I want to help you succeed. And so this is just one way that I want to contribute to you and your success. Until next time, I'll see you later.